Hi, this is Seamless, and today I'm going to show you how to make a really basic modern FM-based sound in Sytrus, and then how to do the exact same thing in FM8. So let's start with a Sytrus. I'm going to put in a note at E1, something like that, F1 is fine. That sound you're hearing is the patch that loads by default when you open a Sytrus. So the first thing we're going to need to do after we do that is go to default. So it's just a sine wave. All right, so now we have a note. Let's put it in the playlist, and then I'm going to automate modifier X. Just do something kind of willy-nilly, whatever-tastic. Sure, that's fine. All right, so okay, operator 1 is by default going out, so we're going to modulate operator 1 by operator 2. And we get that sound. So first thing we're going to do, I keep saying first thing, it's not the first thing, it's like the 8th thing, but the next thing that we're going to do is make operator 2 a triangle. Now, I'm going to turn on operator 3 a little bit. I'm going to bring it up to 64 onward pitch ratio. And I'm also going to make that a triangle. We have that sound. Now we want to modulate the FM amount. And to do that, we're going to go into operator 1 onto the mod tab. Now what this tab does is it controls the overall modulation input of operator 1. So 2 and 3 are both modulating operator 1, and this mod window will control how much the overall modulation is. I'm emphasizing how on the whole overall part because the way that you modulate FM is to control the volume of the operators that are modulating. So in this case, the volume of 2 and 3. And because you could have a really complicated chain of operators doing a whole bunch of things, it's just easier to use the mod tab to control the overall modulation. So now in here in the tabs in Sytrus, you then have all of these controller tabs. The first one is the envelope, and it's like your normal ASDR attack, decay, sustain, and release envelope. And then an LFO, you can make that happen. There's key modulation, which is the amount is determined by which key you're pressing. It's like lower keys are lower values and higher keys are higher values in the way that I set up here. And then velocity mapping, same thing. These are all by default in their off positions. And for these ones with the line editor, off means it's always max. And then you have modifier X, modifier Y, random mapping, and then unison mapping. I'll touch a bit on that later because it's a bit complicated, but it's also really cool. So for this, we're going to use the modifier X. So we're setting the bottom position of modifier X to be 0 and the top position of modifier X to be max. You can change the strength of the curve. You can also radically change it by doing that. But I usually just have it 1-to-1 like that. So now our automation clip, which is automating modifier X, does that. And then you might have noticed that these sharp positions here didn't sound a lot sharp, and that's because we have smooth enabled. So we're going to disable smooth. Okay, so that's that. That's the very most basic way. And so now I'm going to show a slightly more advanced thing that you can do. So the reason why I have 3 as the high harmonic as a separate operator instead of just going into the oscillator tab here and just making a higher harmonic is because now that the harmonic is separate by itself, I can modulate it independently. Like a second layer of modulation, that is. So I'm going to take operator 4 and modulate operator 3. Now I'm going to play it and watch what happens when I do. All right, so that's very cool. So now, like I said before, the way that you modulate an operator's FM amount into another operator is to control its volume. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the volume tab, and I'm going to set this to modifier Y. All right, so now. to have a much more versatile sound. Now, you also might have seen how there's this volume knob here. What's special about this volume knob is that the center position is actually the 0 position. That's when it's off. And the reason that is because it goes from 100% to negative 100%. And if you see how here, this also goes from 0 to negative 100 to 100 like that. This is so that if you have them in one position and you want to go to the opposite phase, you can make the volume knob go all the way down to negative 100%. And that's important for if you want to do something with phasing and you liked how the other one sounded, but you kind of wanted to stay on one side for most of the song. You just automate that, and that's cool. So this is the basis on which I build most of my FM patches. I usually have the primary, the high harmonic, and then the secondary modulation on the high harmonic. And you can do cool things like modulate that modulator, and then also modulate number 2. That sort of thing. Just gotta be kind of careful, but this is a good starting point because if you mess around with things on this position, you will learn newer and cooler things you can do. But getting here might have been hard for you if you didn't already know how to do this. So that's it for Sytrus. All right, so let's do the same thing in FM8. Now, FM8 has a similar matrix window, which is what we're mostly going to use to work with. And the first key thing to notice is that all the operators are set to 1 by default, as their pitch ratio as opposed to 2 that Sytrus is. This is important because our bass note over here was F1, and to get that same note, we have to go to F2. So, just in case if you're wondering why your pitches aren't matching up, and if you've tried this before, that's why. So the process is going to be a little different. FM8 is a little bit more intense about how it determines its routing. Whereas in Sytrus, I could have ordered the high and the low any which way, and it would have been kind of okay. At least I've tried in the past. I haven't run into any problems. But in this one, we're going to do the high harmonic first. And also, because F is pitch ratio 1, that means that instead of going to 64, we're actually going to go to 32. Because 64 in this case would actually be twice as high and would sound kind of bad. We also want to select the triangle option in the waveforms to get the same sound. So we're going to modulate F by E. Now this amount doesn't matter because the amplitude is always going to be controlled from 0 to 100, but we want to use the velocity control to change how loud things are. And this is important because FM8 doesn't have any kind of internal. I mean, it has a little bit of rounding capabilities. Like you can do that. You can set it to work on the modifier wheel, and you can do internal MIDI mapping and stuff. But I don't know how to do any of that because I don't really use FM8 that much at all. But I will show you how I've determined that I can do what I've done in Sytrus in FM8. So first we're gonna route E to F. It's the big pitch. We're gonna route D into E. D is going to be the bass pitch, the bass FM pitch. So ratio 1 triangle. And then just to get this to work, I'm going to this is the way I want to automate. And so to automate third-party things in FL Studio, you move the parameter that you want to automate, go to Tools, Last Tweaked, and then it'll be this window as if you right-clicked on it. So then create automation clip. There it goes. You also know that the automation clip was created the whole length of the track. If I were to do this, it would make the automation clip the length of that selection. So I'm just going to keep that there to make this more efficient. All right. Back in FM8. All right. So I also want this to be the same controller. So we're going to go to, not this window, Tools, Last Tweaked, link to controller, and link it to this. So now you notice in Sytrus how the high harmonic was only FM'd a little bit. So in this regard, we're going to make it so that it's only it's very quiet. And so in order to do this, go into this modifier, because we can turn this down, but it won't come down enough. So then we hold on a second. Okay, I actually did this wrong. So I wanted this to be routed into F. So see what I'm doing? E into F and then D also into F, but after E. E goes in first, then D goes in, but they're both going into F. I am sorry that I got that wrong. You can kind of hear it doing it, but what's happening is that E is way too loud. So in order to fix that, we're going to go into the envelope thing here, and we're just going to bring it down way low. What is it? What? There you go. All right, so we're kind of doing it. It's real quiet. So it's doing the sound. The reason why this sounds weird is because there's some internal smoothing going on that I don't know where it is. So again, what's happening here is that this amplitude thing here is what we're modulating to control the FM amount into F, and we're using the envelope window and this velocity business to control the overall volume of individual operators. You notice I had to make the velocity go to 100 in order to get the similar result from Sytrus. It's because, remember I showed you that volume knob that had 0 to 100. This one goes from negative 100 to 100 as well. So you want it to be at 100 or something. Honestly, not hugely a master of FM8. So remember the secondary FM thing that we did earlier. You can turn on C and modulate E, which is a high harmonic in this case. And so then, like we had with modifier Y, we could take the amplitude setting from this, go to last tweaked, and make a whole new automation clip. And then now this is our Y modifier equivalent. All right, so that is the basic process behind FM to get this patch and then mirrored in FM8. So hopefully, watching this, you have been able to understand how to get to this part of making the FM bass, and then also learning how to do it in FM8 if you didn't already, because you don't have Sytrus or you're on a Mac. I feel sorry for you Mac guys. I do. Yeah, so thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll try to answer them and stuff. I'm still working on the bass antics video. I'm waiting on the super awesome cool thing that I'm going to have to show you to get here. Pretty soon, I'm also going to release a sample preset pack for Harmonic. That's going to be neat. It's going to have a bunch of presets for resampling. I've already put up a demo of that on my SoundCloud that you may have seen if you follow me on Facebook. And that's really about it. That's what's going on. So yeah, thanks for watching. Until next time.